Top 5 schools expect to be very active in the transfer portal. I think there's going to be a lot that are, but I think these are going to be surprisingly aggressive. And one of them today, already, I just mentioned ATN from Oklahoma State now signing with BYU. Number 5, BYU. We talked to Kalani Sitake, Smoaky, you and I did last week, and I just got the sense from him that they've already done a lot of things in the transfer portal. Heck, their quarterback, Slovis, is from there. This is going in year one into the Big 12. They want to make sure they're as ready as they can be and as deep as they can be. And maybe it's not necessarily about filling out guys who are going to be like A-plus starters, but maybe starters and regular rotation pieces for them. Caleb Etienne's going to start for them, and that's going to happen. But BYU, I think you're going to start seeing them be pretty aggressive in this.
In the transfer portal?
In the transfer portal, yeah. Pretty aggressive here in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't know enough about their needs and wants and all of that, but I could see it. They're going to want to make a splash, like you said, and they've already hit it a little bit. I'm fascinated by the Slovis, addition and how he performs after bouncing around a little bit. They obviously needed somebody with Jaron Hall departing. I think BYU is a school that's well set up to go add some pieces, and again, they seem like they're I know UCF probably because of Plumlee, but, BYU is the one that seems like they're best acclimated to the type of schedule upgrade that they're going to be undergoing as far as just the amount of depth on the schedule. Not necessarily the teams, but just the number of teams of quality that will be a little bit of an uptick.
By the way, we had that segment with him last week, and I mentioned that are they also because of their age? And BYU fans are a little bit sensitive to that because, first of all, a lot of teams are older now. They used to be among the oldest because of the mission trips, but they get a little bit sensitive to that. So I get it. They kind of gave me some details and data that their team might not be quite as old as sometimes people think. Well, but it was the case for the longest of time.
It's probably also just depends on kind of the cycle.
Yeah.
You can have some of your best players coming off of that year, and then sometimes you just don't. You never know how guys are going to be until they really get there and are there full time. Number 4, I guess it's 2 years. I'm sorry. Florida. This is a team that just have a lot of holes to fill. They really, quarterback chief among them. And right now, quarterback's not something that is really abundant in the transfer portal. That all kind of happens. If you're a quarterback, you kind of want to go where you're going to go before spring because you wanted to see if you're going to be a starter. They and the next school are in similar spots, although they're in one of the more awkward ones because they're trying to make headway in the SEC East, which has the best team in the country in it in Georgia. And they don't have, really a lot of answers at the quarterback position right now and some others as well.
All right, I got a question. What's the timeline of Emory Jones and Mertz? Because Emory Jones is where now?
He's in Cincinnati.
Okay. Did Mertz join, or was Jones?
Emory Jones has already decided to leave, and then so
because I saw there,
he was at Arizona State last year, so he's.
I was reading a story, and I was like, "Golly!" Their quarterback. Look at the Florida's quarterbacks. I was like, "Man, that could be a problem."
Yeah, Emory Jones is already gone.
Yeah, he went to Arizona State. Now he's at Cincinnati. He's a grad transfer. So, they've got issues at that position, and that Bailey Napier wasn't ready for it. And obviously he was counting on, I have Graham Mertz. I've got Jack Miller, who hasn't played all that much. And then I'm going to have Jaden Rashada, who's an exciting young freshman that, if everything kind of, goes to pot in the first few games, I can just say, let's unleash Rashada and see what happens. Well, now that didn't happen. And they've got another great, highly recruited quarterback coming up in a year in Lagway, but that's still a year from now.
Okay.
So they've got issues. Number 3, Auburn. Auburn has quarterbacks that have played on the roster for Hugh. They haven't played for Hugh Freeze. He's got guys like Ashford and Finley who have all played. But if they're not his guys, they're also, not going to be, well received there, I guess. And the other thing is, look, Hugh Freeze is going to be as aggressive as humanly possible because he believes he never should have been out of the SEC. He went and proved why he should be back in the SEC. And he doesn't want to sit. He is also at the place where people get tense really fast, maybe faster than anywhere else in the country, and wants to prove to them early on that they've made the right decision so he doesn't have to deal with what every other coach at Auburn seemingly has to deal with, although that's probably not going to happen unless he absolutely rattles off some national championships and starts beating Alabama on the regular. But he's got a situation that he's got a fan base that's really tense and strange, and wants to get out ahead of the curve, which is going to be hard to do with the quarterbacks he's got in the roster right now.
I would think Auburn will have plenty of help when it comes to the
other
transfer portal.
And other players too, but like that's the chief among them.
Well, they could be losing even one more. TJ Finley's flirting with the transfer portal, apparently, or at least has made the comments that have led Auburn fans to believe that he could be headed that way. He was on a podcast, was it Locked on the SEC or something, and said from a competition standpoint, they brought in Calzada, they brought in Ashford. That's a slap in the face that you don't believe in what you already have. They bring in two guys that are close to the same age as the guy that you have that finished the season the previous year. He said his mind goes into immediately, let's work. I think that's what I did. I proved to everybody I deserved to be the starter, yet neither me nor Robbie got the go-ahead, and so on and so on. But he had a lot to say about it, and he's at least leaving the door open for right now on the possibility he could enter the portal, so it could get a little bit more complicated.
Yeah. Number 2, Arizona State. This is a team that's trying to rebuild in a hurry, and Kenny Dillingham already doing it. I mean, like you saw the guys they have going out the door. He's going to be just as aggressive to try to get the guys in the door there, and already has some of it. They've got 2 transfer quarterbacks that are probably going to play. One of them is going to start this year before they hope Jaden Rashada is ready to start in a year, if not sooner than that, but he's been there in the spring. And they've just got to load up because there's no, like, you could tell me that Arizona State, lost 30 guys and they're bringing in 50, and it would make sense to me based on the state of what their roster had to be over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they did a good job of at least addressing it as quickly as they did. I mean, they've got better options than some folks when they take over a situation. But yeah, I'd imagine Kenny Dillingham's going to get that corrected in pretty short order. And offensively, they're going to be robust and ripe and ready to go. But, they acted pretty quick through the portal. I'm sure they'll be even more active here over these next few days as well. And that's going to be a really interesting team to watch. They're taking a lot of crap in all this realignment talk. A lot of people poo-pooing on Arizona State football and, just the state of the program and all that post Herm Edwards. But I don't know. It seems like there's a little bit of juice there now, and I'm really interested to see what Kenny Dillingham's able to do with that, especially knowing the lay of the land so well.
I actually think that they could be the Pac-12 school that owns L.A. the most if they play it right.
Could be.
Should the league stay together.
It's a beautiful campus.
Yeah, and it's,
It really, now some people disagree with me when I said that before. I think they got great views. I love the mountains. And maybe they need to be touched up a little bit. I think I've always thought Arizona State was a sleeping giant.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think they are, they've got a lot of potential that they have not hit yet in football. Number 1, we just talked about them, Texas A&M. They've lost so many guys off this. They've got to get starters. They've got to get people that can contend in the SEC. Now, look, in the secondary, they've gotten 3 guys, Tony Grimes, Sam McCall, and now DeBerry, all there. And that's great. That's good for them. But they have got to make sure that this works because they are heading into a situation, especially Jimbo Fisher, where, look, Craig just said it, the Longhorns are coming in a year. And if we don't think that has anything to do with the decision-making in College Station, it was the only reason they left the Big 12. They didn't leave the Big 12 because of Oklahoma. They didn't leave the Big 12 because of anything else was going on. They left because of Texas. So to think that they're not going to react to Texas coming into the SEC after they've had this decade plus of not having to deal with them is crazy. Texas is in the fight song. This is what they're going to do when Texas comes in. So they're going to be reactionary about the Longhorns.
In a matter of like a less than 12 to 18 months because of the story from 2021, 2 years, A&M, even though they had a good team in 2020, but it has flipped because they were ahead. They looked like they were in that little crescent, that crescendo towards excellence. And now here's UT. They're rebuilding with what Sark has done. And they had, at least you see this upside of what they're doing. It's going to be interesting. Both have disappointed at times when you have a lot of hype. But I would think if you're an A&M fan, you got heartburn. Because I think for the longest time they didn't care anymore. They're where they are, like in a different country with the SEC. And I would think that there's got to be, damn, man, we had an opportunity to like absolutely put our foot on their neck, and we've let that up because of who they were last year and also who they're losing. And then Texas seems to have a little momentum.
Yeah, and y'all focus all this attention on Texas, and I get it. They don't view Oklahoma the same way, but Oklahoma's just another body they're going to have to now deal with as well that they haven't necessarily had the best historical success against, and who's also right in their backyard, basically, if you're looking at, closest teams around you. I know there's others that are closer, but I mean Oklahoma's for all intents and purposes a Northern Texas school.
Yeah,
so it's like they can come in and carve it up. So yeah, I mean they've been swimming with sharks. They should be used to it, but there's a couple more that are about to jump into the pool with them too, and. It'll be a very curious year to see where they stand when the dust settles, because you can just feel it. There's just a lot going on right now with that program and Jimbo and the state of the direction and all that. So yeah, it's gonna be fascinating. By the way, TJ, go ahead. Sorry.
Here's what I would say about Oklahoma. A&M fans have been so obsessed with Texas coming back in that they have not taken the minute to think like, oh crap, Oklahoma's coming
too. You think
too.
obsessed is the right word?
Focused. We'll call it focused.
Yeah, that may not be fair.
Infatuated.
They know what's going on. They know what's about to happen, but I think obsessed is probably not fair.
That's probably not a fair term, but like
and it goes both ways too.
Yeah, it does.
Don't let the hotties we don't think about. No, there's plenty of people that dedicate hours of their day every day to just talking about A&M.
Yeah. So but I do think that like it's one of those things that when they play Oklahoma again, they're going to be like, oh crap, we forgot about this.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, and you know what? Maybe they're looking at it like a lot of other people that they're not so worried about Oklahoma these days. I know that there's at least that small amount of sentiment out there right now just because of, the turnover with Venables and the year last year. For them, I think how they exit the Big 12 after dominating it and they go into the sunset, that's going to be very interesting as well. But just to